I think one of my favorite parts was when we went and hiked up that entire scenic trail that sends you up to like the top of the hill and then you can see Mount Hood's like clear. So like super clearly.
That was my buddy Waylon. He was talking about the camping trip we took this last summer up to a place called Bonney Meadows. It was our second camping trip of that year, and one that we won't forget. Bonney Meadows was a small, secluded campsite on the southeastern side of Mount Hood. To get there, you have to drive 6 miles up a very sketchy road where you need four-wheel drive just to make it. The campground itself is about 3 acres consisting of only 6 campsites that are first come, first serve. Seeing how the road is very rough, with deep ruts and many rocks, not many can make the trip out there, so it is likely you will find a spot. If you don't find one in the campground, there are still many sites nearby that will likely be open. When you finally get to the campground, the first thing you will notice is the beautiful meadow on the east side of camp, with Bonney Creek flowing right through it. Just a couple miles down the trail, there's a small water hole called Boulder Lake that the forest road ties into where you can fish and swim. Just a little ways outside of camp, you can find Bonney Butte. From there, you will have a great view of the surrounding mountains, including Mount Jefferson, Three Sisters, Mount Adams, and of course, Mount Hood. I will never forget the view from that view as Mount Hood peeks over the hill as you walk up the path. For the rest of the interview with Waylon, we discussed his first impressions of the camp in Bonney Meadows.
Um I think first impressions were really good because it was like it was kind of like a car camping scenario, but like it was pretty remote place to get to. And there was only a few people.
Yeah, when we showed up, I think there was 2
There
other
was like two
people.
or three campsites. And when we got there, and by the time we had completely unpacked and set up our site, I'm pretty sure one of the two groups left. And then the next day, the other group left. And they weren't even a problem either because that night they were sleeping in their like souped up like camping van.
Yeah, they had brought their van and they were just chilling in
Yeah,
there, didn't have to worry
they're
about
totally
campsite.
isolated in there on the other side of the campground.
Yeah, no, that's what was nice. And then like the second day, we had no one. Like for a good couple hours, it was just us.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was great.
We arrived on Sunday afternoon, so we were expecting a pretty clear campground and was happy to see that that was the case. After setting up camp, we decided to go into the meadow and enjoy the beautiful scenery. It was so peaceful and quiet with no one around to bother us. At one point, my buddy Jaxson decided to go take a nap while laying in the grass by the creek.
Honestly, I mean, it was probably getting the chance to lay down out there. We were so high up that like there wasn't a bunch of there wasn't a bunch of poo out or scat out from wildlife. It wasn't extremely muddy from people was walking through. Where the field was or in the meadows, perfect, just absolutely perfect. So definitely sleeping.
I was curious about the history of Bonney Meadows and decided to do some research on it in the surrounding area. The name came from an old shepherd by the name of Augustus Bonney. In the late 1800s, he would take his herd of sheep to graze in the meadow, which would later become Bonney Meadows, and along with it, Bonney Butte. The butte is well known for its view of Mount Hood, as well as a great lookout for migratory hawks during the fall. After spending a couple hours at camp, we decided to take a hike out to Boulder Lake. This next piece is an interview with my friend Dublin, who went on the trip with us. He starts off by talking about one of the other guys on the trip, Hunter, who is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, no, he was cool, dude. He was really nice. I liked him. Also, he knew he had like a lot of experience with backpacking and just outdoor
Yeah,
stuff
he did. He knows his
in
shit.
general, which was pretty helpful at times, I'd say. Um, he was also a nice buddy for hiking with. On that hike to Boulder Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah, I'm a slow hiker, not because I get tired,
But
but
you
I
just
just
like
like
being in the moment.
I just like enjoying nature, like just turn off my thoughts and just experience, just bask in the sunlight and just enjoy my surroundings. Just enjoy the peace and quiet. Really just, just saturate yourself with all that kind of stuff. And he was kind of the opposite. He was a slow hiker in the way of he didn't I don't think any of us none of the he didn't definitely didn't have the stamina because y'all were fucking zooming, bro.
Yeah, especially on the
Y'all
way
were
back, because like it was kind of getting dark because we were in a lower area. Like being at the lake, you were in a lot lower area than you were back at camp. And so we were like, well, we should get back just so it's not dark and we can cook. And like we got back and had like plenty of daylight, but like in the moment we were like, oh shit, we got to get back. But no, I definitely understand what you mean. Me and Jaxson specifically, me and Jaxson just book it. We just run. We love trail running, and so at some points we'll get to a point where like, let's run, and we just book it.
Although there were times when no, I think I did. No, I definitely did pass you guys. I actually got back to the campsite first, I think.
I think you did because at one point I stopped and was taking just a bunch of photos, and then I think I was walking with Hunter. I was the one that like finished. No, ended up going past Hunter and catching up with everyone else.
Hunter was last.
Yeah, Hunter was last. He was
there.
like at 5-10 minutes behind us, I'd say, by the time we got back.
Yeah, about that, dude. Yeah, because you guys were. I passed you guys because you guys were you would like stop at each of those like bouldery sections to try to take pictures of
Oh yeah, the
those.
pikas. Yeah, I
The
kept trying to take photos
the
of the pikas.
pikas.
Yeah, the pikas. Yeah. I kept trying to take more photos of them because on the way there we saw them and I couldn't get any. But on the way back, I got some good photos.
Yeah, no, that was also really cool to see such a rare animal that people don't ever really come across.
Most people don't even know it's a
And
thing, but like you just never see them. Like that was my first time ever. Maybe second, but like never see them.
didn't you get one on camera?
Yeah, I got a bunch of the photos of them.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That is fuck. Those pictures are sick as fuck.
I know. I
let
was
me
so
tell ya.
happy that I got some that actually that turned out well, and like you can see them really well.
No, dude, all the photos you took there were really good. That was great. There's some great photos that got produced.
One of the things I was most excited about going on this trip was the chance to take some amazing photos of Mount Hood. It was something I'd always wanted to do since I started taking photos, but I'd never gotten the chance. In the morning of the second day, I decided to hike up to Bonney Butte by myself while everyone else was asleep. The trail to the peak of the butte is just over a mile from the camp with about 200 feet of elevation change. Some of my favorite photos of the trip came from that butte. Mount Hood in the early morning light, Mount Jefferson with the purple haze as the sun was setting, and the photo of my friends all staying together as the sun set on the horizon. When I remind everyone of the butte, they all had good memories of it.
When we went on that hike up towards like the peak of the mountain, oh my god, that hike was amazing.
Being up on there, that just like getting there at the perfect time where it was just golden hour, just just these golden sun rays just basking your entire face. You could just see for hundreds of miles.
Oh, right, that peak spot. Oh, dude, that was a view. Oh, bro. Oh, man, I wish I could go back.
For each of us, there was something that we remembered visually from that trip. For Kelly and one of the other guys, it was something a little different.
Honestly, my favorite part was, remember when we did that hike and we found that like oasis part?
Yeah, Boulder Lake.
It was just a lake and there were mountains all around it. My favorite part about that specifically was how dead quiet it was. Like with the silence with how we live in modern day, we kind of get used to the drowning noise of cars and planes and all that. But when you're up there in the midst of all the water and the mountains, you hear nothing, and it gives you an appreciation for silence.
I couldn't agree more. That feeling of just complete silence is something you can't replicate in most places.
No, yeah, definitely, especially with like how we live today. Like I can't, I can go on a hike outside, but unless I'm like 50 miles away from, you know, from town, I'm still gonna be hearing everything.
That's something we often forget about when living in a city for so long. We forget what true silence feels like and what it really means to be out in nature. This trip taught me about appreciating the things we don't often get to see, and I think Kelly put it the best way.
But little moments like how we saw the pikas and how we took pictures of them, and us taking pictures of like the throwing knives.
That was fun. I loved doing the throwing knives was so fun. I was so happy I brought those.
Yeah, yeah, that was really fun. Um, yeah, little moments like those, they just made that trip so memorable because it's the little moments combined with those big awe-inspiring moments that's what makes a camping trip a camping trip.
After that trip, all of us could agree that we want to make Bonney Meadows an annual trip. We will go back every year to appreciate the small things: nature, silence, and most importantly, spending time with people that will always be a part of our lives.